All right, hey, it's Paul from China Cash Buyers. Today it's January 31st, 2016. So I wanted to give you a lot of stuff is happening in the market, and I wanted to tell you from my perspective what you as an agent need to think about, or what you need, the things you need to consider so that you can make the right decisions in 2016 marketing to Chinese investors, marketing real estate to Chinese investors around the world. So we have people listening from Australia, from the UK, from Germany, from Canada, obviously the US, and all the way down to South Africa. So thank you very much for watching. We had a bunch of people from Israel recently listening, so thank you very much. All right, so this year has been a lot of changes, and there's been a lot of stuff happening. So I'll give you the good and the bad. Here you go. The good: $1 trillion left China last year to be invested in real estate. $1 trillion. It was much more than people expected. I predicted, was it 2 years ago? And if you go to ChinaCashBuyers.com, you'll see that I predicted $1.5 trillion in 5 years. Well, guess what? It happened. $1 trillion in 1 year. So I try to be conservative so that you can kind of understand what's happening in the market, but at the same time, I don't want to exaggerate. So luckily, it came out good this time, and predicting the future is always difficult, but I'm trying to give you an idea. This is massive. $1 trillion for investment overseas is so much money. And let me tell you where that goes, okay? It goes down to half of the $1 trillion goes to the US, basically, about half. And about half of that half goes to California. So if you average this, let's say 50 cities in the US, you're talking about $50 billion per city. So you're seeing a lot of money. Obviously, it's not completely evenly distributed, as I said about California, but you are seeing like massive influxes now to cities that I visited, made videos like Tampa, like Miami, obviously like New York, and all over the United States and the world, the Western world, basically English-speaking countries. You're seeing investment is really skyrocketing in 2016. Did you see that news? Do you realize what $1 trillion is? That means that a lot of money's on the table waiting to invest. So there's money sitting in the bank account, people that want to invest, they want to immigrate, and they're still ready to buy, right? Because you have to season that money for 3 months. So there's a ton of money sloshing around. So this is very good news for you as an agent. Let's see, on the side of something that people worry about or not so good, China devalued their currency. This was a couple weeks ago, and they devalued the currency a small amount. People freaked out. Obviously, you know about last summer and recently, stock market's gone down. And I want to put that in perspective. Okay, obviously, you know, nobody can predict the future, but let me just tell you what I think, and you can tell me what you think about it. People have been predicting China to crash forever. Okay, ever since Gordon Chang wrote his book many years ago, The Coming Collapse of China. There's been predictions of China collapsing, and I don't know if you know that, but it's all been wrong. Okay, China has not collapsed, and China is in fact growing stronger. And even Soros recently, who's on China's radar, who predicted a lot of bad things a few years ago, his prediction was Chinese economy would be $7 trillion now. Now it's $10 or $11 trillion. So, you know, we're not seeing a lot of people who know the future who are predicting China failing. And in China's favor, we have say what you think about the politics, but as far as the economy, they've done a pretty good job of stewarding the economy. And one of the things that's happened recently that you should know that gives confidence is that basically China it was a cheap manufacturing base for many years. And you go to Walmart, there's all kinds of things made in China, right? You're seeing less and less of that. There's obviously still a lot made in China. You're seeing higher and higher quality things. You're seeing airplanes made in China. You're seeing helicopters. You're seeing all kinds of high value, high tech stuff, but you're not seeing new factories, less factories, and a lot of people going the cheaper like shoe companies in Vietnam and Thailand and Bangladesh, clothing companies, and India, and people are moving out. Now, a lot of those people moving out, this is what you don't know, is a lot of those companies moving out of China are actually Chinese companies. So it's not necessarily bad for the Chinese economy. So for example, when Japan got too expensive, a lot of the Japanese companies invested in America, they invested in Thailand, they invested overseas, they built factories, and that ended up being the saving grace for the Japanese economy when the yen changed in value, because it hedges their risk, right? So manufacturing moving out of China doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of the world for China, okay? In no way, shape, or form. A lot of these people are just making Chinese companies stronger, and also sometimes manufacturing moves for many good reasons. And in this case, the Chinese government was actually pushing a lot of these companies out. And I go crazy when I read the news when, the government will announce that they don't want polluting industries because of the air and because of the water, because of the soil. They want to get rid of those. And then they'll push them out. And then when they leave, everybody says, oh, look, the Chinese economy is collapsing because, so-and-so, shoe company moved out of China. Come on. I mean, this is well-planned, economic policy. They're moving polluting industries out of China, and they're doing a great job. And they're also moving to a service economy. China was about 23% service economy. I forgot how many years ago, but it was let's say 5. It was recently. And now it just went over 51%. So the Chinese economy is moving to a service economy. It's moving very slow, okay, but it is moving, and that's the direction of a modern economy. And it's a very smart move by the Chinese government. So I would say that's not something you want to do too much worrying about. We're seeing more and more Chinese are wealthy, more millionaires being created even now, more billionaires created even now. So there's nothing to panic for you as an agent. And you're seeing more and more money move out of China and investing in various assets, including commercial properties, residential properties, buying companies, and all kinds of things. So this is, it's happening, and a lot of people are cashing in. I wanted to make a special shout out to some people that are doing really well down in Australia. Friends of mine, Carl and Victoria up in Cairns. Congratulations on your recent successes, and that's really great to see. So you're seeing new cities open up with Chinese investment here during as Chinese New Year's coming up. A lot of Chinese are going overseas, purchasing properties, getting into schools, applying for schools, and all kinds of things. Okay, so what else is going on? HSBC this week announced that it would no longer give loans to Chinese investors outside China. And again, I read, sometimes the news is like a echo chamber, like one person writes an article and then it's like it's all of a sudden it's okay to write about this or something, and then everybody just repeats everybody, and none of these people, they don't live in China, they don't know China, they don't understand China, and they just repeat what another article, because it's acceptable to write about now because it's in one big newspaper, right? So they're recently, everybody, what was that? Oh God, now I'm losing my train of thought here. What was everybody freaking out about this week? Oh, it'll come back to me. But yeah, don't get caught in this echo chamber. If you see a bunch of articles in like 2 weeks about China where it's all people saying the same thing, it's just crazy. Right now we're here reading about Soros a lot. Soros thinks the renminbi is going to drop. The renminbi did drop a little bit. But again, this was reaction. There was obviously many factors, but one of the big factors was the $1 trillion that left China. That's a lot of money, and that causes the currency to drop because it's a free market, right? You buy and you sell, right? When $1 trillion leaves, the economy, the currency goes down, and that has both good and bad effects. But what it doesn't have is it doesn't have like end of the world, China's going to explode effect, okay? As we're seeing right now. So we had China make the AIB Bank this year, last year, which was really great. Huge step forward for Chinese government, and a very smart move. And I think Obama made a huge mistake by not joining in on the AIB Bank and supporting that, because it made him look like he was not supporting China, because this was a very positive development. It was, it was the Chinese government, creating this bank to fund different things around the world, and there's no reason not to support. I was a big mistake, and I think Obama realizes it now. But nobody bats 1,000, right? Yeah, that was another good step in the Chinese economy. Taking on more responsibility, more international responsibility. Other things that are happening, China is doing a lot of trade agreements with Iran, various places. Obviously, the United States led the TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and China has not joined that yet. But I think they are studying it and they want to join it. It's a way to lower, fees for export. Basically like the NAFTA free trade agreement. And China is now doing their own free trade agreements, and I think they'll join the TPP, but it's going to take some time. because to adhere to the rules of the TPP are pretty strict, and the Chinese economy is just becoming a service economy. It's going through a lot of changes right now, and it doesn't have that much energy to fight off this new thing, which would be basically entrenched interests, cutting export duties and things like that, or import duties, which I think they're on the right track, but everything in its due time, right? Nothing happens in 2 seconds. So right now, I don't see any reason to panic. You as an agent, you have a lot of opportunity right now because you're seeing Chinese go in many, many small cities that they weren't going in before, investing, and that's a really good thing for you as an agent. And so whether you're in Milwaukee or wherever you are, you have a chance to build yourself up as the expert, and as that investment comes to your area, once you've built yourself up your brand online, once you've built up your expertise, so you can answer questions, so you can help, you can do things like that. Then you'll be ready when the big wave comes, right? It takes time to prepare yourself. It takes time to prepare your company. It takes time to prepare your online presence. It takes time to prepare your brochures and your training and your staff, the people that work for you, or even yourself if you're working alone. It takes time to be an expert in something, right? So if you're in a small city, now's a good time to keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Nothing is happening right now that is making the market disappear, explode. You don't have to get the rope around your neck. Everything is just fine, and people are making a lot of money selling real estate to Chinese. So if you're listening to this on iTunes, please go hit the subscribe button and give us a rating. You can go in there, you can review the podcast. I appreciate any comments you have, any questions you have, good or bad, whatever you have to say. I appreciate you saying it and giving me a heads up. If you have questions, please go ahead and put them in there, or add me on WeChat. My WeChat is Paul Salo, PaulSalo, no spaces, no dashes, at Paul Salo, and that's my ID for WeChat. You can add me on there, and you can ask me questions either verbally, or you can write them down. So I'll be happy to answer those questions either through a podcast, directly to you, or through a blog post. So that always, I like tough questions, so don't be afraid to ask tough questions. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching, and signing off. We're a little bit fighting. There's a wedding going on across the park over here, so you have a lot of people singing in the park. It's Sunday right now, and so people sing in the park, and there's a wedding in the park, so a lot going on. Chinese and Asian parks in general are a lot of fun. There's a lot going on, so when you record in a park, you're always fighting against a lot of stuff. Today wasn't too bad, so it's good. So thank you very much for watching. Paul Salo from China Cash Buyers signing off. Thank you very much.